Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's the CD guy, Johnny Z here. Thank you so much for tuning back into the channel, and today I'm going to be taking a look at my 10 most anticipated rock and metal albums coming out in 2024. With only 2 weeks left in 2023, I thought it'd be fun to look ahead at what's coming out in 2024. You know, there are a lot of bands working on new material right now, but I'm limiting my picks here of my most anticipated records to just what's been announced so far, although there have been some high-profile releases already confirmed for 2024, and this list is not a ranking. Instead, I'm going to go in order of release date, so kind of serves as a release calendar here. So with that in mind, let's get started in January. Coming out on January 19th, we have Hell, Fire, and Damnation by Saxon. The new wave of British heavy metal legends are back with their 23rd studio album. Very exciting stuff. New album from Saxon here. The follow-up to Carpe Diem from 2022. So I'm excited for it. You know, I thought Carpe Diem was great. I think the band have been on quite a roll lately. And then, of course, you have the single that was released, the title track, which sounds fantastic. Definitely gets me very optimistic for this album. That's going to be their best in years. Sounds great. You know, it's produced by Andy Sneap as well. Great production, you know. So for me, I think this album is going to, you know, be a candidate for an album of the year contender. Just some, you know, intuition that I have. High expectations for the new Saxon record. Very excited for it. Coming out on January 19th. Hellfire and Damnation. On February 9th, Morbid Saint will release Swallowed by Hell. Thrash and death metal legends Morbid Saint are back in the studio here for their third studio album and the follow-up to their big return record from 2016. I'm especially excited for this record because, you know, it's not every day Morbid Saint released new material. I was skeptical at first, you know, to be honest, about the band, you know, older now, and with only 3 original members left, you know, would they be able to capture the same energy of 1989's Spectrum of Death? But singles like Bleed Them Dry and Swallowed by Hell totally squashed any of my doubts, so this album is definitely on my radar for, you know, what could be an extreme metal album of the year contender, so really looking forward to it. Again, this is only their 3rd studio album, so pretty rare that Morbid Saint released new studio material, but I'm excited for it. I'm looking forward to it, and hopefully, like I said, we have an extreme metal album of the year contender on our hands. Definitely go ahead and check out the singles that have been released so far. Really did get me excited for the record. Coming out on February 23rd, we have 10,000 Volts by Ace Frehley. It's the follow-up to Spaceman from 2019. You know, Ace has claimed this album will make Paul Stanley feel like an imbecile, and, you know, the jury is still out on that, but everyone loves some Petty Kiss drama, so at least there's that. You know, Ace's live shows have been pretty rough lately, but the studio can do wonders for that and masking any kind of weaknesses, so I'm sure the album's going to sound fine. The lead single, 10,000 Volts, is awesome in my opinion, and really catchy as well, despite the fact that I think Ace's current band have no chemistry with him at all. I'm expecting a pretty, you know, solid guitar-driven record here with new material that follows a similar formula to most of Ace's solo stuff, so I am looking forward to it. Ace was always my favorite member of Kiss, and so I still think he has a lot to offer in terms of guitar work, so I'm excited to hear him shred on this album. He's, of course, claimed it's going to be, you know, the quintessential best Ace Frehley solo album. He says that about every new release he puts out, so I doubt it. I don't think anything is touching, you know, the 78 solo record, but still, I'm pretty optimistic that 10,000 Volts is going to be a fun record and feature some great guitar work, so looking forward to it for sure. Also being released on February 23rd, we have The Other Side of Mars by Mick Mars. It's Mick's first solo release since his departure from Motley Crue. Of course, a lot of drama there between Motley Crue and Mick Mars, but really looking forward to this release here. You know, in a solo capacity, I want to see what Mick has to offer. The 2 singles that have been released so far, I think, have been really solid. I reviewed Loyal to the Lie when it came out. The lead single, I thought it was fantastic. You know, one thing, though, is I think the 2 guitar solos have been pretty subdued. I want to hear Mick just unleash on one of those solos. I think we're going to get it on that record, so I'm definitely excited for what's probably going to be a very guitar-driven, heavy sounding album, so looking forward to that. I can't wait to see what Mick, you know, has to offer and what he comes up with here, so looking forward to it. For me personally, I've always thought Mick Mars was the most talented member of Motley Crue, and I think losing him was a huge blow to the band, but one thing is for sure, this album is going to be better than anything Motley Crue have done in years because, well, they haven't done anything in years, so Mick Mars here releasing a solo project in 2024 is going to be very exciting, and, you know, something that I also have high expectations for, but we'll see. I'm just looking for, you know, a nice heavy guitar-driven record here from Mick, and I definitely think he's going to deliver. On March 1st, Bruce Dickinson will release the Mandrake Project, his first solo release since 2005's Tyranny of Souls. the Iron Maiden frontman here back in the studio doing the solo thing on the side. Really looking forward to the Mandrake Project. The first single that was released, Afterglow of Ragnarok, was fantastic. Really heavy, a little proggy as well, and, really dark, and part of a bigger concept here, right? It's going to be a drawn-out, thoughtful record. Bruce Dickinson clearly put a lot of thought into this. What's going to be a concept album, and very exciting stuff. One thing about Bruce Dickinson, this album is going to be very self-indulgent, but in the best way possible, so I'm really looking forward to what Bruce has to offer here. No doubt it's going to be a fantastic record. I don't think Bruce is going to disappoint with this record, and, when it comes down to the Mandrake Project, what is it going to sound like in comparison to his other solo works? I definitely got Chemical Wedding vibes from the Afterglow of Ragnarok single. I think, it's kind of going to follow suit in a sense, similar to what some of his other solo work has had to offer, but maybe with a new twist here. Of course, it's the first album in a while by Bruce, so I think his vision may have changed a little bit, but he's been working on the Mandrake Project for quite a while now, going back all the way to 2015 and maybe a little bit earlier than that, so exciting for sure. I can't wait for it, and, Bruce Dickinson, my all-time favorite metal vocalist. I cannot wait to hear this record, and, it's one that I have very high expectations for, probably my most anticipated record of 2024 so far, of what's been released, but really looking forward to this. The Mandrake Project out on March 1st. Same day as the Mandrake Project will also mark the release of Hopiumforthemasses by Ministry. Really excited. It's a follow-up here to Moral Hygiene from 2021, so expect something similar to that record. Probably very heavy with some real-world commentary by Al Jorgensen as well. This is their 16th studio album, and, well, I don't think modern-day Ministry is going to compete with their classic stuff. I'm still expecting a strong album by the industrial metal pioneers at this stage in their career, so looking forward to it. Again, thinking something in the same vein as Moral Hygiene, but probably a very strong record nonetheless, and can't wait to hear it. Next, we have first of two releases coming out on March 8th. First of all, we have Judas Priest and, of course, the Invincible Shield, their next studio album, the follow-up to Firepower from 2019. This album has, got a lot of buzz around it. Will it be the final Priest album? I'm not sure, but very heavy record so far from what we've heard, with Trial by Fire and, of course, the lead single as well, Panic Attack, which I reviewed here on the channel. I'll leave it linked down below. If it is the final Priest album, they're definitely going out with what sounds like a very heavy record here. Kind of a mix, I think, of Painkiller meets Firepower in a lot of respect from what we've heard thus far, and that's very exciting, very enticing as well. I'll be seeing Priest live when they're touring the new album in 24. I already have my tickets, so I'm looking forward to that, and hope they do some new stuff from the album. Expect some great guitar work here, some great vocals by Rob Halford as well. I'm not sure what kind of involvement Glenn Tipton is really going to have, considering his compromised state, but he is slated to play on this record, so that's exciting to see what he and the rest of the band are going to bring to the table here. Priest, I think, are on a bit of a roll. I think Firepower was fantastic. This album sounds like it's going to be, at least on par or even better, kind of following in the footsteps of Firepower, just a little bit heavier with those aspects from the Painkiller album, so it's going to be exciting for sure, and I think when it comes down to it, it's probably the most high-profile release on this list, but we're going to see what Priest has to offer here in 2024, but I'm sure it's going to be a banger. I'm sure it's going to be awesome. Priest, very heavy here, even at this stage in their career, 50 years later, still putting out new albums, and that's great to see. It's going to be a great year for the new wave of British heavy metal. We have Saxon, we have Priest, and a new solo release by Bruce Dickinson. A lot to be excited for in the world of, the new wave of British heavy metal and what's coming out in the year to come. Also on March 8th, we have Clear Cold Beyond by Sonata, Arctica. Finnish power metal machines returning to the studio here for their 11th studio album, and the follow-up to Talviel from 2019, which, although it got mixed reviews, I honestly thought was a great record. So, I'm really interested in hearing how the band are going to follow it up here with this next album. The lead single, A Monster Only You Can't See, is an absolute banger in my opinion. Kind of gave me Blind Guardian vibes, which is pretty interesting. So, definitely, as of right now, my most anticipated power metal release, slated to come out in 2024. Fast forward a week now to March 15th for the release of Warp Speed Warriors, the upcoming 9th studio album by British power metal legends DragonForce. And, for me personally, DragonForce are one of my favorite current British metal bands. I don't think they have a bad album, so definitely excited here for this release through Napalm Records. It'll be the first album to feature bassist Alicia Vigil, and it's also the first since 2019, marking the longest gap in between studio albums for DragonForce. Of course, it's the follow-up to Extreme Power Metal from 2019, and so really looking forward to it. So far 2 singles have been released, that being Power of the Triforce and Doomsday Party, and I think they sound fantastic, so definitely have high hopes for this record here, and I don't think DragonForce are going to let us down, so exciting stuff here with the upcoming album Warp Speed Warriors. March 29th marks the release of the final Sum 41 record, Heaven and Hell, the 8th and final, like I said, studio album by Sum 41. They've announced their intentions to disband after this record and subsequent farewell tour. So this is it for Sum 41. Heaven and Hell is by far their most ambitious project to date. It's a double album, their longest, clocking in at 55 minutes long, and if the two lead singles are any indication, those being, of course, Landmines and Rise Up, then the band are going to finish strong here. And, it sucks that they're breaking up, but I'm very intrigued by what this record has to offer. Like I said, pretty ambitious sounding, and, I don't think they're going to go out with a whimper here. I think they're going to go out with a bang, and so I'm very much looking forward to what Sum 41 bring to the table here on their final studio album, Heaven and Hell, coming this March. So that wraps up this video here, examining some new releases coming out in 2024, some of my most anticipated new releases that I'm most looking forward to coming out in the new year. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel down below, turn on the bell for notifications so you never miss a new upload. Definitely want to turn on notifications because I do plan on reviewing most of these records when they come out, so definitely want to stay tuned for that. And of course, please let me know down in the comment section below what are some of your most anticipated new releases coming out in the upcoming year. I want to hear from you. And until next time, it's the CD guy, Johnny Z, signing off. Take care, everybody.